So if you want to sit yourself into a comfortable seat and allow yourself to be upright, use any cushions that you need to behind you. And we're going to begin with a practice for greeting the dawn. And it may not be dawn quite, but that's where we're going to go to. So when you find yourself sitting, you may want to become aware of your breath. And the gesture that we're going to do is Ushas Mudra, which is the gesture of the dawn. And we take our two hands and we interlace them so that the fingers, as if we're doing that action, but we open the palms out and rest them down. So it's as if you're interlacing your fingers with your right finger in front, and then you simply open your palms and gently let them. You can separate them slightly if that's more comfortable, and let them rest in that action wherever is appropriate on your lap. And once you've achieved your mudra of the open palms but slightly interlaced fingers, you can let yourself breathe and settle into the aspects of the gesture. You may like to close your eyes or drop your gaze, whatever feels appropriate for you. So the gesture of the dawn, Ushas Mudra, is for opening to new possibilities. So our affirmation or our statement might be, I greet each new day as a mystery to be lived fully and joyfully. So Ushas means dawn, and it's for welcoming each day and to all those possibilities, a fresh start. As we embrace each day more openly, we may have fewer expectations of how things should be, and this can allow stress and tension to reduce. And by welcoming each day more positively and releasing the judgments we hold about ourselves and others, it can allow us to celebrate life as it is, perhaps rather than complaining about how we would like it to be. So as you settle into your gesture and allow your hands to rest, perhaps with your eyes closed, your breath flowing, you could feel the sense of your breath, and this gesture invites the breath to flow up and down through the whole body, the whole torso. So you might imagine energy flowing from the base of your body all the way up to the crown of your head. And sense each inhalation, each breath in, cultivating a sense of enthusiasm and uplifting energy, while the breath out instills a sense of serenity, allowing you to relax just a little more. And this balance of enthusiasm and serenity allows you to greet each day as a unique opportunity to unfold all your talents and your possibilities. To cultivate this more open way of seeing, visualize yourself in the pre-dawn, the very cold, dark time just before dawn, ready to embrace the new day with fresh eyes, as if seeing life for the first time. Imagine the sun gently coming up over the horizon and the sun's first rays. And take a few breaths to visualize the sky as it transforms into a watercolor of orange and gold, a canvas upon which all of your possibilities naturally unfold. And the background of this watercolor is a clear blue sky, a reflection of your own openness and receptivity, inspiring you to paint your life canvas creatively. As the sun rises slowly, Its soft light bathes each part of your body progressively, allowing you to absorb the brilliance of the new dawning day. Begin by taking several breaths and sense the rays of the sun softly illuminating your face, allowing you to see life in fresh, new ways. Now the rising sun gently warms your throat and neck. As you take some time to sense a growing clarity in which you communicate positively and authentically. Infuse with clarity, sense the dawning rays bathing your shoulders and chest, and take several breaths to fill your heart center with uplifting energy and your lungs with vitality. Your arms and hands now receive the dawn's growing light, enhancing your sensitivity, allowing you to touch and be touched by others in a natural balance of giving and receiving. Perhaps imagining the touch, the hugs of your loved ones, recalling those sensations and feeling how they lift you, how they warm you. And as the sun rises higher, its rays gently warm your solar plexus underneath your ribs, awakening the inherent self-esteem that allows you to overcome all challenges along your journey. Develop that sense of self, our self-esteem, knowing we are worthy. We are enough just as we are. And as the sun's strength illuminates your pelvis, legs, and feet, you take several breaths to sense the support of the earth, allowing you to step forward in life confidently. As we meet the earth and rebound off it, it allows us to be light but grounded. And the sun's rays are now full, burning the early morning mist away, reflecting your openness and clarity, allowing you to fully appreciate the miracle of this new day. So with openness and clarity, repeat these following words to yourself. I receive each day openly and enthusiastically as a field of infinite possibility. I receive each new day openly, enthusiastically, as a field of infinite possibilities. I receive each day openly, enthusiastically, as a field of infinite possibilities. And then slowly releasing your gesture, let your hands rest. Take a few breaths, experiencing that sense of infinite possibilities. And when you feel ready, you can drop your eyes, chin down before opening them, and look out into the day as you send your way forward. And we begin with some movement. I'm moving back to my chair, and you're on your chairs. Allowing your feet to be appropriately supported either with your blocks or your blankets or whatever you have to support you, depending on the height of your chair. We're going to begin with some movement of the arms and shoulders, which hopefully will release some of the tensions that might gather in the neck and the back of the shoulders. So we'll begin simply allowing our arms to drop beside us. So hopefully you have no arms on your chairs. And as you breathe in, invite the arms to come up to shoulder height. And as you breathe out, allow them to sink back down where they started. 2 more times, breathing in, lifting the arms up to shoulder height, wherever they feel comfortable. And as you breathe out, slowly, let the breath carry your arms. And you can use your Ujjayi breath, your huffing breath. And then lifting your shoulders up to your ears, to squeeze them up to your ears and let them drop. The shoulder shrugs, lift your shoulders up to your ears and let them drop. And one more time, lift your shoulders up to your ears, breathing in and let them drop. And you may like to explore what happens if you lift your arms out to the side to shoulder height, breathing in. And as you breathe out, coming down. Now we're noticing how our body stays centered and we're lifting our arms away from the body, and we use the stability of the center of the body and let the arms float as we breathe in up towards the height of the shoulders. And we let the breath release as we breathe out all the way back down. And then we could lift the shoulders up and take them backwards and drop them down, and bring them forwards and lift them up and take them backwards and drop them down. And one more time in that direction. And then we can take them back and lift them up and pull them forwards and pull them down. Take them back, lift them up, bring them forwards, take them down. One more time. And then letting go. Releasing, pausing for a moment, observing the sensation you have in your shoulders. So as we woke up our minds and our emotions, we're now working on our body to bring that back. So allowing yourself perhaps to move a little further forward on your chair, particularly if the back of your chair is wide, so that you have room for your elbows to go backwards. They're not going to crash into anything. So whatever that might mean for you in your position. We're starting with our arms straight down, and we're going to lift them up to the top shoulder height and then bend the elbows and pull them back and send them forwards, breathing in and elbows back as we breathe out. Looking at moving a little more across the front of the chest as we take those elbows back. So obviously the shoulders may come forward, but can we pull the shoulder blades back and down? Breathing in, breathing out. One more time. And then releasing and noticing how those shoulders and arms feel. So we're going to take a little bit of pushing this time. So we're going to start with our hands perhaps near our shoulders. And then one at a time, we're going to push and release. Push and release. As if you're pushing a door open. So there's a sense of resistance and back. Push and back. Push and back. Push. One more time. And rest. Again, experiencing what that feels like. So the next one is pulling. So rather than pulling abstractly, we're going to imagine that we've got hold of a rope and there's a boat across the water and we're pulling that boat in. So we need to find some strength around our center and really pull that boat in. Pull, 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 pull. And notice the different action that you're doing as you pull that boat in. So it's completely different action from when we push. And a lot of the time we do pushing, particularly in our yoga practice, and we don't do so much pulling in life unless we are a fisherman hauling in the ropes, and allow yourself to rest. So again, observing the body and those sensations that you have from that. And you may notice quite a different sensation from when you are doing the pushing. Perhaps the pulling gives a much stronger feeling in the body because it's not such a common action. So then we could do some lifting, not heavy lifting, gentle lifting. We'll let the arms come down by the side, and we're imagining we've got some weights on the end of our arms. Very carefully, working safely with your arms and shoulders. Just lift those weights up and put them down. Lift them in towards your armpits and let them go down. Pull them up with a little resistance and down. Lift and down. Lift. And obviously this is also working the shoulder muscles at the top of the shoulders. So if the tension is there, this can add to it. But perhaps when we finished and rest, that tension in the back of the neck may start to dissipate. And one of the principles of working with the body in an active way is to stimulate the muscles to make them contract and work. And then when we cease the action, that they may settle even more relaxed way after we've done it. Whereas sometimes we're tense because we've been anxious or something's going on, and we start to let those tensions tighten up across our neck, into the back of the neck, across the shoulders, maybe into the head, and give us a headache, possibly sometimes, tension. And we just sort of hunch up more and more away from that. Whereas perhaps if we did some arm and shoulder movements or neck and head movements, that would work those same muscles, but after we finished, give them some space, allow them to relax more deeply. So we've pulled from the floor. Let's push from below and up. So if you take your hands here and you can imagine you're holding onto a weight, and of course you can do this with weights if you wish to, and we're going to push up and come down, push up and come down, push up and come down, push up. So if you breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. One more time on the left, and then if you're happy to, both, much stronger. 4 times. Out, in, out, in, out, in, and rest. Well done. Letting go, noticing how that felt. So if you wanted to build up some more strength in your upper body, then you could use small weights, water bottles, or whatever you've got available in your home to hold, and add that little bit of extra resistance. You can also use bands, although it depends what you're doing with the resistance bands. So we've gone up, we've come from down and up, from down to up that way, down to up that way, and then we're going to do out to the sides. So if you're all right to bring your elbows out, bring your fingertips towards your shoulders. They don't have to touch, and you can take hold of your pretend weights again. Lift, keep those elbows as far up towards your armpits as you're able to. And then you're breathing in and out, in and out, in and out. This is our Popeye. Where's your breath? In, out. One more time. And release. And notice what was working. So obviously some of that is the front, and also you might find it at the back. If we wanted to do just the front, then we'd do it from here, and we'd do those bicep curls, yes? So if you want to play with that one, you can do. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. And then release. Well done. So then if we want to get to the back of the upper arm, a little bit of that before, but we'd need to take the arm potentially higher up. So there's 2 ways of doing this depending what the shoulder's doing. If you're happy to do this one, where you can bring your arm up and you drop your arm behind and lift it up. So you keep your elbow up alongside your ear, and you can do this again with your fist. But if the elbow won't go up here, then how am I supposed to do that? Well, one way you can do it is leaning slightly forward on your body, and you take your arm to the side, and then you pull your elbow up behind you. So if you lean forwards with one forearm across your lap, have the other arm dangling alongside you, imagine you've got a weight in it, and then all you're doing is pulling your elbow out behind you. Elbow out and down, elbow out and down, elbow out and down, elbow out and down. And gradually, as you do that, you might begin to feel something happening along the back of that upper arm in your tricep. 2 more. And then release, come back to center. And do you feel different on the 2 sides? That's the important thing. Do I notice what's been happening? So again, if you wanted to do it this way, and you can, keep that elbow up, you can do it that way. Or you're doing it this way, if that's safer for your arm and shoulder. So either way, are you ready? Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Control that elbow. Keep it inside the width of the body to the best of your ability. Won't be actually behind your back, but that's the idea. Out. Now you need to be leaning forward, otherwise you're not going to have the range to do it. It's not going to be lifting it up. It's going to be simply taking it back, which might work a little bit, but the leaning forward makes a big difference on working that tricep because it fixes your front ribs forwards and gives you more range to stretch that muscle. One more time. Out and release. Ah. And of course, you may feel other experiences in the back muscles when we've done that, because the arm muscles on the back of the body, quite a lot of them. Of course, there's muscles coming down your arms, but they have to join on somewhere. So they join on around the front, they join on down the back of the body and across the top of the shoulders, of course. So we've got all these sort of diamond shapes and triangles of muscles and long lines of muscles. All right, well done. Taking a moment to experience your arms, your body, and your breath. And take a beautiful deep breath in and sigh the breath away. Letting go. Take a deep breath in. Feel the body expand as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, feel that contraction. Letting go. That sense of the inhalation bringing you energy, vitality, and the exhalation sending away any stresses, any additional tensions. So drawing our awareness to our legs and feet now. If you will have a strap handy and you find it's helpful to lift your legs, then you can use your strap. I've got a very long strap, so I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to place it underneath my right thigh. Now you may find you don't need to use a strap, in which case you could use your hands behind your leg. But if your arms aren't as long as mine are, then you may find a strap is helpful. And before we actually lift that leg with the strap, let's find the muscles inside to do that. So if you find that top of the leg, where you crease your leg, and in there the muscles that begin the lifting of the leg. We're sitting here and we imagine lifting our right foot off the floor. Simply think it rather than doing it. You may immediately begin to feel something happening there. And then we continue to think, I'm going to lift my right leg off the floor. And as you start to lift, the top of the leg is where that lifting comes from, your hip flexor. So when your foot has come off the floor a little bit, then you can take the weight of it somewhat in your strap or your hands and let the foot flop down, point the toes towards the floor. And breathe in and pull the toes up towards your knee, and breathe out and point the foot down. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. 2 more. And then either bringing your awareness to your big toe or your heel and imagine drawing circles with your foot. If you find the other foot is in the way, I'm just going to move my block out of the way. I might find that easier. Circling in one direction, either imagining drawing circles with your big toe or your heel, whatever you can do with your foot. Your foot is your foot, not my foot. And then the other way, big circles, in, out. And if you notice, my lower leg and knee are staying as still as they can. And then pausing and bringing your awareness to your lower leg. Engage the abdominals if you're finding your leg is getting heavier. Can you swing your lower leg from your knee gently forwards and backwards? Hopefully your chair doesn't have a bar on it or anything like that to crash into. And pausing and circling as far as you're able to that lower leg. So we forget we have a foot. The foot is part of the lower leg. So it's the lower leg, the shin or the calf that we're moving in circles. And then we move the calf and shin, if it's possible, gently in the other direction. We'll avoid torsioning our knee. We're simply moving the leg where it will move. And then we're placing that foot down and experiencing the body. And we may also be fully aware of how heavy legs are, very heavy things. And that's why we have strong muscles in our abdominals and in the top of the leg to make those legs work. So from there, if you release your strap, if you're using a strap, you may want to place it around below your knee, across the top of your shin. And from there, we can again bring our awareness to the middle of the body and the top of that leg. And we're thinking about lifting that foot from the floor. And as we think it, so it happens, and the leg comes up slightly, and we're holding with that band. And then we have that band to control. So it's our arms that are controlling the leg with the band around. So let your arms move your leg into your hip socket. Gentle circles. And then pausing in the middle and taking it in the other direction. So we're moving about 6 times in each movement. But some of us may move a little faster, some of us may move a little slower. And it's all about you and your joints and your movements and what feels good for you. Placing that foot down when you're ready. And observing the whole of the leg, all the way from the hip, through the knee joint, through the ankle joint, and then you could wiggle your toes. So how does your right leg feel compared to your left? Or if you did the left leg first, it's not really important which leg you started with. And what does it feel like at the top of that leg? What's the connection like between the thigh and the body? Does it perhaps feel more integrated on that right side or the side you've worked on than this? Perhaps that feels a little disjointed. Just a thought. What do I experience? And when you feel ready, you can take your band around behind the back of the other leg if you're using it, or your hands. Before you lift that leg, think it. Think it with your head. Imagine lifting your foot. Send the message down that your foot is going to come off the floor. What am I using? I'm using my thigh and my hip flexor at the top of that leg. And when I do, it comes up off the floor. And then we've got the foot and we can point it down. We breathe in and pull it up. We breathe out and drop it down. In, out. One more. Thinking of your big toe or your heel, drawing circles. In, out. In, out. One more in that direction. And then in, out the other way. One more time. and letting the foot hang. So the foot is simply on the end of the leg. We don't need to consider the foot anymore. We're bringing our awareness to the lower leg, and we're letting the lower leg move at the knee joint. That's the action of the knee joint, primarily to bend, to straighten and bend. Letting that leg swing. And then when we're ready, we let that foot still hang on the bottom. We move the shin gently, if we can, in any direction, circling around. And you can do this with your breath too, if you wish. In, out. And then taking it in the other direction. And resting it. Placing the foot down for a moment. Observing the lower leg from knee down. And then preparing ourselves for the actions going into the hip socket through the thigh. So as you may recall, we sometimes imagine that this end of the knee is the end of a wooden spoon, and the wooden spoon goes up and the spoon part of it is in your hip. So as we turn the thigh, we're stirring gently into our hip, however your hip is. But please be careful. And when you're ready, think about lifting your foot again. And let your hip flexor do some work and your abdominals. And when you feel ready, breathing in, breathing out. So let your arms do the moving, because you're holding the spoon with your strap or your hands, and you're stirring gently into that hip socket. So we don't want to do any damage. We want to work with what we have. And if your circles are very small, absolutely fine. If you need to stop before, that's okay too, because it's your body. And we're looking to improve our range of motion and to maintain our mobility. So we aren't forcing. We don't want to be worse off when we've done this. And then the other direction. Out, in, out, in, out. And because we're keeping an eye on that particular hip, we're looking to move that only, if you can get that. Sometimes other bits start to move. Is that because we're pushing too far? So if I went much bigger, then my whole body would start to have to join in. So I'm not looking to do that. So when you've done about 6 in each direction, you can let go and come back to stand, sit, and noticing the sensations. And if we have one area that perhaps is a little bit less comfortable in general, maybe it's got some osteoarthritis or something like that, then when we've completed, there may be a different type of sensation from the other side if it doesn't have those conditions. So we're working appropriately for each side. And we might have done smaller ones on the one that's a little bit iffy and more on this, whatever you choose, but to loosen up. And then gradually, as the body settles, does the balance come through the whole leg? If you have your strap, you might open it out if it's a long strap and place it on the floor and put your right foot into the loop. If you don't have a strap, you could hold behind your leg perhaps. And maybe you have I don't know, a belt from a dressing gown or something that you could use that's not be stretchy, a cord or something that you've got around the place as a strap. So when you're ready, again, thinking your foot off the ground. So you lift from the top of your leg as far as you're able to. And if you have got a strap, you can push into the strap and just straighten your leg as far as it will go. Bend and just straighten the leg. Bend and straighten as far as your straight is. So straight is what your leg does. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. One more time. And then you might hold that leg up there. Feel the stretch through the back of the leg. Wherever that is, it doesn't matter where it is. Mine happens to be here, yours might be down there. That's not important. Can you push your heel away a little more? Can you feel the stretch through the back of your leg? Does it feel good? Are your toes straight up to the ceiling? Heel down. A lot of us end up weird things with our legs. And softly release. And observe again. What do I notice? So you can change sides with your strap or your hands. If you're doing it without a strap, you can hold behind your leg and you can swing your leg holding your leg. Either way. If you have a strap, push down into the strap, sit tall with your body, engage your hip flexor to lift that leg off the ground, breathe in, and as you breathe out, let the heels swing away. Breathe in, breathe out. So our initial action is to loosen up through the back of the leg, stretching it and working it. And gradually, we may find that it is a little looser. It is a little more comfortable. We do have perhaps a little more range, a little more length through the back of that leg. One more time, swinging, and then if you can, holding it. And you've got the belt, we'll give you a little bit of support. You can engage your abdominals to help, or you can hold the leg underneath, which may be a little stronger. Push that heel away, toes up towards the sky, breathing, and then releasing and coming back down. Well done. Moving towards movements of the spine now. So you may want to pop your belt behind you or on the floor somewhere safe. And we'll begin with that sense of connection, the tops of our legs we've just been, where we brought the leg to the body. That's one way that that works, but it can also bring the body to the legs. And this is what we're doing now. So at that same place where you can let your foot come off the floor and your knee come into your chest, now we're going to take the abdomen, chest towards the thigh. So the first part that would meet the legs, if we were doing this all the way, and that's not where you have to go, this lower abdominals would be the first thing to actually touch the thighs. It wouldn't be your head because we are avoiding rounding at the moment. We're going to keep that sense of length through the spine, brow, chin, chest, midriff, navel, bottom, and all those buttons or points stay in alignment. So you might think of them as buttons stretched out, and the space between them is maintained. Hands can either be on the legs, or if you want them at the tops of the legs, if it's comfortable for your shoulders, and experience that sense of grounding through your sit bones. You will move forward towards the front of your sit bones as your body comes forward. You're simply hinging from here. So breathe in where you are. Keep your buttons apart as you fold your body towards your thighs. You'll be looking down towards the floor. Press through the floor as you breathe in to come back up. Breathing out, folding your body forwards when you're ready. Press your feet firmly into the floor to bring yourself back up. 2 more times, breathing out, folding forwards. Maybe a little further, some of you want to go. Breathing in, coming back up. And then when you're back, pause, release, and notice what you find. So anywhere on your back that was feeling a stretch. For some of us, there may not have been much stretch because we're folding from here. For others, there may have been a stretch. Did it feel appropriate for you? And then taking our spine, maybe doing that again, if that's comfortable for you and safe for your spine, or moving the front of your vertebrae closer together by rolling ourselves forward. So that's when we bring the buttons closer together. So the chin button comes towards the chest button. The chest button comes towards the midriff, and so on, down the body. So if you're happy to roll down, you can. If that's not appropriate, you'll continue with the forward bending from the tops of the legs. Take a deep breath in when you're ready. As you breathe out, roll the body down. Stretching through the back of the body, feeling those muscles as far as your body feels good. Then press down through the feet and the sit bones as you unroll, separating those buttons as you come back up. Breathing out, rolling down. Keep your feet firmly pressed into the floor will help to control the movement and draw the navel back towards the spine if you can. As you breathe in, press down through your feet and roll your body back up. And taking that 2 more times if it's feeling safe and comfortable. If you choose to stay down after the 4th one, you can, and simply allow yourself to either rest on your forearms or dangle yourself down and let a bigger stretch happen along your back. Remember to let your head go. We often hold on to our heads as if they might fall off, and generally they won't. When you've been down, if you're happy to stay down for a moment, you press down through your feet and your sit bones once again. Gather your abdominals to assist you as you roll your way up to sitting. And checking in. So you may notice after you've come back up that there's a change in the way your breath is. Maybe there's a change in the way your head feels if you had your head down, if it was safe for you to do that. And the opposite direction, taking our back length, making that shorter, and the front length longer. So again, we're connected from the top of the hips through to the shoulders, and the neck itself, we could lift it up a little bit, but we're avoiding sending the head back too soon. We start from the bottom of the body, so we invite the pelvis to go forward, then the ribs to go forward and up, and then the shoulders to open. And you could hold on to the back of the chair if you can reach it, and send whatever works for you. But feel that first of all, you're working through from shoulders to hips in your back bend and holding and breathing. So you pulled the buttons apart except for the chin and the forehead ones. And then if it is appropriate for your neck, you let the chin gently lift away from the chest, just a touch. So you can still breathe, you could still talk. And then you could pull your shoulder blades down your back a little bit more, possibly to increase that contraction in the back muscles before letting go gently. Let your chin come down, let your chest drop down, and move your arms back to the front. Observing the residual sensations of your back bend. And we'll repeat that if that's safe for you to do. Hands come behind if that's all right for you, or hold on to the side of the chair. And let the pelvis move forward. So your sit bones, you're rocking towards the front of them. Then we're lifting the ribs up off the waist and opening the shoulders. Let the shoulder blades drop down. And we could send the midriff further forward if it's willing to go. And feel that contraction through the back, as if we're pulling the upper ribs down towards the waist or even towards the pelvis. And this is action, it's contraction, and it shouldn't feel terrible. It should feel like something. And then if we choose, we can let the chin rise a little. And we find our breath, and our breath flows. We're not holding the breath here. You can come out of it whenever you need to. And as you take a deep breath in, do you feel the breath move into your bottom ribs, midriff, mid-ribs? Probably don't get much going on in the upper ribs if your arms are behind you and fixed. And then softly let the head, chin come back, release the chest down, let go of the arms. Observe, what do I notice? How does my spine feel? So it's done its contraction, and initially it'll be saying, ooh, ah. Gradually it might start to settle itself. It's what our bodies do. If you're able to, bring your legs a little closer together. And we're going to take our twisting. We're going to begin as we began in a previous practice, where we brought the fingertips together and rested them underneath our chin, with our chin resting and the hands together. The elbows are resting down against your upper chest or your chest. Then we breathe in, and as we breathe out, we turn the ribs to the right as far as they will go without letting go of anything else. Breathe in, come back to the middle, and breathe out wherever you go to the other side. Now, the problem with this action is that you feel as though you're not going anywhere. And that's true, but you are going somewhere, but you're only going to the limit of your bottom ribs. So let that happen. Notice where you find you restricted. Where do I think I want to go further? And to the left again. And can you feel that happening in these bottom ribs? When you come back, you can release your arms. Now, you may like to use your hands for the next section of the ribs. You could put your thumbs perhaps inside near your armpits and your fingers across the top of your chest. Elbows can drop wherever they happen to be. So taking a lovely breath in, think of those bottom ribs moving to the right first, and then the middle ribs where the hands are, and then back to the center, and breathe out to the other side. Breathing in to the center, breathing out bottom ribs, then mid ribs. You may feel yourself going slightly further than you did last time. Are the knees moving, or are the legs still staying still and feet and knees together, or as close as they can be? One more time to the left, breathing out. And then back to center. So if we crossed the elbows high, if that's possible, fingers can either go onto the shoulders or they can go onto the elbows like Hiawatha, either one. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, bottom ribs, mid ribs, shoulders round a bit. Back to the center as you unwind, breathing in. Bottom ribs, mid ribs, upper ribs. Breathing out, in, back to the center. And once more each side. Bottom ribs, mid ribs, upper ribs. And you probably find your head is starting to turn as well. And then release. Lovely. So if we brought our left hand on the outside of our right leg, if that's reachable, and the right hand either down beside us or towards the back of the chair, we've already started to rotate those bottom ribs. Yes, you've already brought those round. So bring your awareness to the middle of your shoulders and move those around, shoulder blades. And then your shoulders can go, and then your head can turn too, as far as is comfortable for you. Have that sense that that chin is parallel to the floor rather than lifting up or dropping down. And stay for 3 more breaths. As you breathe out, you might imagine your body rotating just a little more to the right. A safe place, feeling stretches, releasing tension as you twist. When you've done those breaths, you can breathe in again, and as you breathe out, let your body rotate back to the center. So preparing for the other side, we take the right hand over, and we've already moved and rotated slightly in the bottom ribs. So we can bring our awareness to the middle ribs. The back hand can go behind the chair if that's appropriate. We grow through the crown of the head, and then we move between the shoulder blades round. And then the shoulders themselves or upper chest around, and finally the head. As we look towards that left shoulder, and you can have a little bit of pressure on your outside of the left leg as you rotate, and you're breathing there. And as you breathe there, you may find some more range, possibly as you breathe out and let your body rotate a little more without the hips moving or the legs moving. Those are fixed. 2 more breaths here. Gently working with your exhale. No straining, avoiding force. Then you'll breathe in when you're ready to come back and release your head, your shoulders, your ribs back to the front. Well done. So how does that feel? Did you experience some sensation on the back of your ribs? You might want to do a little wriggling after that. So working a little more with those legs. We stretch them out in front. Let's take them apart now. So you may want to hold on to the sides of your chair. If you're close to the edge, please be careful. And then walking your feet out until you feel an appropriate gap between your knees. And there may be some sensation on those inner thighs. If there's absolutely nothing, that's potentially could go further. If there's something happening on the outside of your hips, then you've probably reached your maximum. And we don't want to be pressing into that, so you might come back a little bit. So if you only have sensation here, you've gone as far as you should go. If you feel sensation here and nothing here, there's more range you have in time, just so you know. All right, I'm just going to move my block that's underneath me so I don't fall off my chair. Always a good plan. And then from there, if you're feeling safe, can you release your hands? So you're still sitting on your chair and the hands can come forward. And you're going to hinge from the tops of your legs. Remember those buttons spaced. The hands can be on the top of the legs or on the thighs, and we're folding our body forwards in a straight line. So we're looking down towards, and you don't have to go very far. Keep the feet firmly on the floor and begin to notice if you have any stretch going on in your inside legs. And you might release down to your forearms and let your body come a little further, if that is safe for your back. We're looking for some stretch on the inner thighs. Can you bend a little further between the legs? Are you still breathing? Press down through the floor, fold the body a little further if it's possible. You may feel a stretch over the rump. Send the knees a little wider if they will go. If you haven't got a stretch on the inner thigh, can I walk my feet a little wider? And any of you who feel safe to could bring the hands to the floor between you on the ground and then fold yourselves a little deeper. Be safe. It's your body. You're working with your body. So if you did get your hands to the floor, you'll probably need to use a firm press down through your feet so that your hands become light and you can lift yourself back up. Otherwise, you can press on your forearms on your thighs, perhaps. So here we are. How did that feel? Is that a nice stretch for those inner thighs? And once more, if that's appropriate for you, folding down. You can have the forearms resting, let the head stay level with the body if you wish to. If you're happy to take it further down, one hand at a time, and fold and let your head hang maybe, only if that's right for you. And possibly this time, for those who can get further down, you've gone even further down. It's not about copying, it's about doing your work, your body, your practice. Then when you've held that for a few moments and you're feeling good, your head's not become too light or heavy, press down through your feet, engage through your sit bones and lift yourself back up. So we really need to find that strength in our body to lift us up. We need to use the earth to come back up. And then we can walk our feet back in and observe what's going on in our body. How does that feel? A little bit stronger through the middle. And then if you're able to, either crossing your right ankle over your left, or if you can, crossing your right leg over your left. So if you can't get your knees on top of each other, stay with the shin or the ankle, yes? And you might straighten the legs a little bit if that's the case. Otherwise, sitting with the legs on top of each other. And you're bringing your left hand, if you're able to, on the outside of your right leg and the right hand on the back or outside of the hip. So you're either in this position or in this position. Either is fine. And then allowing yourself to take with your left hand out to the left and your right hand slightly back behind you. And see if you can find some stretch, a little stretch through this side of the leg. That's our aim. And we might twist and turn, rotate our bodies a little towards the back of the chair, turning to the right. And perhaps if our leg is up or if our leg is crossed, we could straighten that leg a little. Still resting, it's either on your shin, you can extend it, holding it perhaps with your hand, and get a little stretch through that leg So either one is fine. And then soften the release and come back to center and readjust yourself. So our aim there was to have some stretch through here. Did you achieve anything there? It may have taken longer to stay. So it's crossing the other ankle or straightening those legs slightly, or crossing the knee. Other hand on the outside, leg on the hip, and moving that body. So pulling that leg across towards the opposite hip, if you like, as far as it will go. And then if you wish, you can rotate the body around to look that way. And once you've done that, if it's appropriate for you, extending that heel away, increasing possibly, and you might want to move your hand down or even lean that lower leg out a bit. So if you've got your legs crossed, you could walk that foot out a little bit, have it still resting against your other leg. Sit up tall, and then softly bending the legs and returning to the front and uncrossing. Well done. You're checking in. What do I notice? So we're going to finish today with a chant, a mantra. And it's called the Hridaya mantra. So it's about the heart space, the chest, and the nurturing of yourself. And the words that are in Sanskrit mean, may my life force be linked to my heart. May my heart be linked to the truth within me. May that truth be linked to the eternal which is unending bliss. So it's connecting us with our own truth, with our sense of self, and with the idea of the eternal and bliss. So it's a nice way of bringing ourselves in. And it's in my view, it's a very joyous chant. It's very uplifting when you know it and you do it. So much like our dawn meditation that we began with, it's a way perhaps of greeting the day, another option for greeting the day. So I'm going to chant it through, and I'm going to do it first once, then I'll do one line at a time, and I'll pause, and you can say it back to me. Obviously, I won't hear you, but you can repeat it. And whether you make mistakes or anything like that, it's really not important because nobody else is listening. And see how it makes you feel. And then if you've vaguely got the words, you can join in. Otherwise, you can listen and perhaps do it another time and practice the words. All right. So there are some gestures that we can put with it, starting perhaps with our hands in prayer position at our heart. So the actions will be simply sending them forwards and opening them out. And then we bring the hands back. And this time I just take my hands across my heart. And then we lift the hands up, look up if you wish. There's a slight pause as you bring the palms together if you're able to, and then they travel on the last line back to the heart. So once through with me doing it all, and then I'll take time to do each line. So you'll move with the gestures when you chant. So I'll wait for you, imagining you're saying it. So when you're ready, just watch this one. You can join in the actions if you wish to. Atma Hridaye, Hridayam Mai, Aham Amrate, Amritam Anandayam. So the first line. Atma Hridaye. Hridayam Mai. Aham Amrate. Amritam Anandayam. Atma Hridaye. Hridayam Mai. Aham Amrate. Amritam Anandayam. Together twice more through. Atma Hridaye. Hridayam Mai. Aham Amrate. Amritam Anandayam. Atma Hridaye. Hridayam Mai. Aham Amrate. Amritam Anandayam. Let my life force be linked to my heart. Let my heart be linked to the truth within me. Let that truth be linked to the eternal which is unending bliss. Hariam Tat Sat. Namaste.